Hello. Well, I sat myself down in front of my microphone with the full intention of reading you a story and commenting on a story about the Chagos Islands. It turns out that the former Prime Minister of Mauritius, the one who masterminded the Chagos deal, has been caught for... Well, he's been caught with his hands in the till, basically, and maybe I will make a video about that, but not until I've read this letter. It puts everything that's wrong with this country right in front of us. So I'm just going to read you the letter. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Oh, before I carry on, I have had somebody write in to say that my picture isn't coming out well enough, and I should readjust the camera in some way. Unfortunately, that camera, which is a JVC video camera and so old that now its battery's gone, I have to plug it into the mains, well, the USB, because they don't make the batteries to fit that anymore. I can't afford anything else. I have a subscription pile of almost 70,000, but because I don't fill my videos with adverts, I'm not making such a lot of money out of these videos. If a video is up to about 15 minutes long, I don't put anything in the middle of the video. And I keep getting these little things from YouTube saying, if you put mid-roll ads in, you're going to earn a lot more. But I just don't want to do that. I feel I don't like to see too many adverts, and I don't want to impose that on anyone else. So I have adverts at the front and back of the videos, usually, because most of them are about 10 minutes, aren't they? And I only put a mid-roll advert in if the video is sort of after 15 going on for 20. So yeah, that's the problem. I just don't want to put in too many adverts. And by the way, some of you who watch me regularly apparently are not subscribing, so that brings down my subscription numbers, which again has an effect on what I earn. So look, if you want me to get a better camera, I'd love a better camera, but I can't afford one at the moment. And that's the thing. You could help a bit by subscribing, of course, but you can also think that you may not be able to see me absolutely clearly, but at least you're not getting that many adverts in the videos either. You pays your money and you takes your choice. Right, now let's just get on with this letter. The letter that spells out exactly why retirees despise Labour, it says here. In the letter below, sent to Telegraph Money, our writer describes how the government's inheritance tax raid on pensions punishes years of hard work and serves an unsustainable welfare system. You see, we have a problem here. British people used to be known as a nation of savers, and that was because the government didn't interfere with people's savings, and people felt very confident about saving their money and then using it when they got old. But now, if anyone has any sense, they don't save anymore. They just spend what they've got and then throw themselves on the mercy of the state afterwards, because there is no point. They are worried that the government will do what Rachel Reeves is doing and, go for inheritance tax in ever increasing quantities on an ever expanding demographic of people, or just doing raids on pensions pots. And this is, of course, giving nobody any confidence in the idea of saving. At the same time, with more people not saving, then there are going to be more people on the welfare system. That's a double whammy on the welfare system, isn't it? Because the government is supposed to be duty bound to look after its old people. But the government has also decided it's going to burden itself with a lot of people who really don't deserve the welfare. And you've got more people throwing themselves onto welfare. In my recent video, I did a little segment on a hotelier in Cornwall who refused the government's offer of overbooking his hotel for welfare recipients. He decided to stick with running a business because he knew that those welfare recipients, migrants of various sorts, were just going to destroy the whole village. And you might extrapolate this up to everywhere in Britain. We are carrying a burden in the United Kingdom of taxes which are paying for people who, in many cases, don't deserve the living they're being given by the state. And this person here is articulating that, as a proud Englishman, I've spent my life having been born in a council house working. I am now in my early 70s and I'm still working and paying huge taxes to the government, as I have always done with honesty. I have run a small business since the late 80s. I was encouraged to open a self-invested personal pension many years ago and paid into this, knowing that should I die and anything remain, my children would inherit the pot, exempt from any inheritance tax that my estate would be liable to. So what this man had done was he had joined a scheme which he was assured would run according to the following rules. He put the money into the pension, which means the government got to use his money. And then when it was time to draw the pension, he could live off that pension. And if anything was left, what was left would be exempt from inheritance tax. And that sounds like a thoroughly reasonable thing. It would encourage him to save. It would encourage him to, in effect, invest in the country. And then it would reward him by giving what was left to his children. For this reason, I've kept working at my small business and paying high taxes that have supported a welfare system I rarely have had access to. I am by no means rich, but I have worked hard for what I've saved. What this new government has done is literally steal my descendants' inheritance. There could be a large amount remaining in my pot if I keep working, but they have taken away my desire to carry on working, as I am sure they have done to others. So this fellow has decided that the way the government is now raiding pensions, it really isn't worth him putting any more into it. And he then says what he's going to do. They do not appear to understand what a working man's life is actually all about. Have they ever had to get their slimy, money-grubbing hands dirty? I very much doubt it. Yeah, me too. So he says, I could pass away in a couple of years and this appalling bunch of idiots would take a massive slice of what is not theirs and what previous governments have promised is not theirs, and this appalling bunch of idiots would take a massive slice of what is not theirs to give to others. Many that have no rights to be in this country, or have a right to my family's potential inheritance, or have in fact never worked and are using the system that has been built up over the years to support them on permanent breaks. Sorry about that. Now, at this point, I just started thinking of the Nash equilibrium, which is something you find in game theory. And he uses the farmer's dilemma. It has to do with growing crops, which, if certain crops are grown, are less profitable for each farmer, but better for all of them. And then one of them cheats. No, I'm going to start something else. Like, I've spent time in Norfolk, and Norfolk is, as Noel Coward said, very flat. And you find a lot of fields in Norfolk, they tend to get flooded, and the fields have, well, trenches around them for drainage. Now, let's assume that we are two Norfolk farmers. You, Farmer A, have fields that are adjacent to my farm. I'm Farmer B. And you say, look, instead of two drainage ditches on either side of the fields where our fields join, why don't we just collaborate and have one drainage ditch in the middle, and that way we get more field and we collaborate on the drainage. In these two fields, it's going to cost us £2,000 to make a drainage ditch that just runs between the two fields. How about you contributing 1,000 and me contributing 1,000, and we'll get this ditch done? And then I say to you, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do it for this reason. You're going to dig the ditch anyway, and you'll spend £2,000 doing it. Meanwhile, if it goes down the middle, I'll get the drainage anyway. So there's no point in me contributing. And that's how I feel that the government is acting with regard, well, in this case, to pensions, but generally speaking, with any agreement that the government is supposed to have made with the population, the money-earning population. OK, there are those that need help, but most of what I observe... So hang on, let's just go back here. I could pass away in a couple of years, and this bunch of idiots would take a massive slice of what is not theirs to give to others, many that have no right to be in this country. There are those that need help, but most of what I observe makes me feel that our welfare system has become a free-for-all that many decide to use to their advantage. My hard-earned money will be salted away, I think that's the wrong expression, stolen away is more like it, by a totally blind government to support these people, a minority of this country, who no doubt voted them in. There is no harm in being wealthier than the average person, but the socialism we are suffering appears to see that differently. I will make every effort to empty my pension, and quickly, to the point that I will leave nothing for these idiots to take. I'm closing down my business as I no longer see the point of continuing. Even though I have not paid into the pot for years, it has grown, and it has grown because it's been invested and is earning interest. But I cannot simply keep paying income tax to the government. I need to spend what I've accumulated. They have lost this income, and as most of my clients are from overseas, they've also lost overseas funds to the UK. I've already purchased a home for one of my children. I will ensure that the pot, as I empty it, will go to providing my children with the homes that I promised them and outlive the 7-year rule. So, you know, you don't pay anything after 7 years, and he should do it quickly because I'm sure the government's going to change that too. I have other means of removing my pension and passing it on, but it will disappear from their grubby hands. Eventually, if I live long enough, I will have no money left. At this point, I'll claim all of the benefits that I can and hope that my children will also support me. Rachel Reeves and her cohorts have indeed thrown acid into the faces of entrepreneurs that have been the lifeblood of this country for so long. And the savers, of course. The people who will save their money so they have a more comfortable old age, they're like him, going too. If I were young, would I wish to start a business here? I do believe it would be stupid to do so when governments can steal from its citizens as they feel fit. And that's it. You see, Reeves and this Labour government, I mean, previous Conservative governments have resorted to this behaviour before, but not in quite the same bald-faced cheek as this government. What is the point of saving money when the government, when it becomes vulnerable to a government rapaciousness? I've many friends that have been hit hard by this, many through years of hard work, believing that their money was safe. Some had built their pensions by keeping the property they own and other assets in their fund. They are moving out of this country to live abroad. How long will this government last? The jobless numbers will go through the roof. Prices will also, inflation will take off again. They are proposing new infrastructure spending, billions of pounds they do not have, like a drowning man clutching at straws. I live amongst a farming community. The hate here towards this government is profound. Okay, and that's what's going on when you cannot rely on the government to respect your property, then you're not going to hang on to your property. And if you can, you're going to leave as well. Quite frankly, my children, if any of them asked, should I stay here or go abroad somewhere, I'd probably tell them to go abroad, actually, for their own good. And they are solid earning people. And then I would be without any family, and so I would need the state to help me when I got old and decrepit. You know, the state would have to provide me with some sort of social care or housing or something. Now, if I had my children around me earning lots of money, they'd be helping me out. This government is absolutely irredeemably stupid. I have said that it seems to me if the BBC are turning against Rachel Reeves, then that's because Keir Starmer wants to get rid of her without appearing to sack this first woman chancellor, which is, bad optics. But if the BBC are against her, of course, that increases the pressure on her to go on her own. But that won't help, because what's coming up behind her? Well, Diane Abbott. I mean, who in the Labour Party can do any maths at all? They can't even do the sums when it comes to looking at how the attitude of the people to them. Right, well, that's it. That's a pretty depressing little bit of game theory, I suppose. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.